Hi friends, I know I don't have a lot of followers, but I just wanted to give an update on those who are in my network. So April, I want to say 16th, 17th, 18th, we had Cambodia New Year's. We celebrated. My daughter and I went to Tacoma, dressed up and everything. It was a new year. It's my year, the year of the horse. And I was really hopeful of a lot of things I've had, um, you know, enrolled in my home care aid classes. And I am looking forward to a lot of new things. I've had procured 6 clients, 3 under DDA and 3 are private. And I was excited for my new chapter since I was released from disability from being on cancer treatment. I was on disability for a good 5 years. It's not good. I don't like it. I don't like the pay. I don't like the system. I don't like the bracket. I don't like how it works. But, I've been feeling good. I've been feeling good. I feel like I was doing things that I'm supposed to a lot better. I was, cooking, cleaning, getting out there, trying to do my chasing waterfall, hiking, grounding in the forest things. And every once in a while I take a fall, I take a misstep, I have some pain here and there on my hip and my back and joints and nerves. And, that's, I figure that's a common thing for people who have gone through chemotherapy, radiation, and so many surgeries, right? Because you're definitely going to get some of those things back, or throughout years, and it'll never go away. And I expected that too, but I also questioned, wait, what's that pain? What's that nerve pain? What's that hip pain? Am I delusional? Am I, what's going on here? And, since I've been told I had no sign of disease, I've been told that I should be in remission since of my last chemo treatment of November 29th or 30th or something like that of 2020. And I've never really thought about it. I just assumed that I just had a really bad feeling about it. Like, why would I celebrate something I know that's obviously still in my system in a way, right? And that's how I feel. But my oncologist, Dr. Ward, at the time was just like, yeah, um your date for remission starts at this time. So, okay, fine. I'm doing all my things and everything like that. And, again, let's go back to April of this year. I literally just finished my home care aid training. It was like a 2.5 week course, virtual and in person. Like going back to school, it was just really weird. But I did it. I was really happy about all that I've known and all that I've learned, and I'm really excited to get back into working again and the field where obviously I know best, right? People with disabilities, either whether it's learning or not, and helping families out that are like mine and supporting them, but actually getting paid, right? With benefits and things. So I was super excited to actually get healthcare again. Well, I've always had healthcare, but I don't always have healthcare, but I always have to fight for healthcare. And I think this is finally something that I was going to be super happy about, starting the new year. Anyways, Monday come along, April 20th, I have a client, and it's looking forward to it. I was so excited to see him. It was a couple breaks, so it's been a couple 2.5 weeks since I've seen him, but I've worked with him before, so I've never had a issue, or any questions or anything like that, because he seemed to be a pretty chilled person. Anyways, we did our routine, and we do have a routine because a lot of my clients are special needs one way or the other, and I try to stick to a routine as much as possible, so that they are familiar, with what's going on in their lives, and that's what they choose to do. We did our bubbles. I explained to them we have to go inside to finish up, to use the bathroom, to eat the granola bar, to watch TV, and to wash hand and things like that, like our normal typical thing. So I opened the door and then he closed it. I'm like, oh, okay, then, um, which cute to me that he didn't want to go in, right? And then we played bubbles some more and things like that. And all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, time to X, Y, and Z to get back in there. And that's when it went from like 0 to 100. Unfortunately, he turned around and pushed me down the stairs. And then he was really upset. I triggered him just by opening his door to his house. And I was assaulted twice. I didn't think I was going to need to call 911, but after the first assault, I was scared that he might do it again, in which he did. And it's sad. I was really, really taken back because it wasn't stated at all in his care plan. And so I didn't really think about it. I just thought about, at the time, I hope he's okay. I hope he's not upset. I hope he can get down to baseline so that way, to be calm and to be safe. And I'm praying that because I was still down the stairs, pretty much hurt. I'm not sure what had happened yet, but I was hoping he won't, run away. That's what I was afraid of. So I called 911, and when I was talking to 911, I was like, yeah, he's right here. And I was trying to let him know that I'm okay, we'll be okay. And that's when he assaulted me again. I was dumbfounded. I mean, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. But I'm just glad that, it's just weird how I never see the neighbors at all. And that day I saw the neighbors going to get mail. And then after the first assault, she was like, would you like me to call his mom? And I'm like, yes, please. And so she called the mom, and I was on the phone with 911. I do have the recording of that call. And I did put a police report. I didn't press charges or anything like that because I feel like it was my fault and something that I didn't know about him. And that, obviously it's part of his diagnosis. Anyways, update on my health. I was admitted into the hospital on the 20th. Next morning, a doctor come by from Providence, came sat right next to me, and just like, this is big. I need to tell you right away. This and this is happening, and you have two options. And he was just like, you can pick hospice, or you can pick treatment right away, or you can pick, residential home. I'm like, wait, what is going on? He didn't have charts, he didn't have images, he didn't have anything. And I was just really pissed that he wouldn't wait for like my husband to show up, right? Because like, who does that? And I'm just waking up from being in pain. So long story short, I can't work because I'm on L&I. My hip is fractured, and from the CT scan and MRI, I had a horrible experience at Providence, by the way. They didn't even give me any med. I was crying from the pain on the way there after they gave me my CT scan, and I was just knotted. I couldn't even breathe, and they had me laid all the way back, so obviously all that liquid and fluid was going up my nose, and I can't breathe, and I had to yell at the nurse. I'm like, you need to give me some tissue, you need to give me some saline, I need to clear my nose. I can't do that, I can't touch you, I don't know what your report is. It's my nose. Like, seriously, it's sinus. I'm not trying to pull a leg on you. I'm not trying to make things worse for myself. I'm not, delusional. I just need saline. And he just kept yelling at me. And until my husband showed up, she like buckled up and, did her thing finally. Oh, where does it hurt? What can I do? I have this. I don't have actual saline, but this is actually saline, from their syringe that they give you. And I'm just like, oh my fucking God. It was just was just a really horrible experience because they won't listen to me, or they didn't want to do their job, or I don't know what it is, because I know when I was being assaulted, I have TMI, but whatever. I'm trying to be transparent. Ever since I've been on chemo treatment, I've had blockage. Like, I can't have a bowel movement. So I took Cena the night before, and not every time I was getting shooken up by my client, I was shitting my pants, and I was trying to tell the nurse there, and my husband had to go back home and get underwear and everything for me to change, and they wouldn't listen to me. They wouldn't change me or come to my need until that happened, until my husband showed up, kid you not. And so I was, they didn't give me any pain medicine when they're doing the MRI and the CT scan and everything. They're just like shoving me here and there. And it was really painful with a fractured hip, right? Anyways, the next morning with that doctor, I was just dumbfounded. He's like, we're referring to you to Fred Hutch. We can't do surgery. You're going to have to be on, treatment for the rest of your life and things like that. I'm like, wait. I just couldn't grab my head around what's going on. You're gonna need a home care. You're gonna need, if you don't go to the nursing home or have hospice or be on hospice, we're gonna get a nurse into your house. And I just didn't get it. I just didn't click, right? Anyways, that day, 4/21, I had the worst experience there. With Providence, the nurse would introduce themselves, do a little bit of cleaning here and there, and walk away for the next 3 hours of their, shift with me. And they did that 1, 2, 3 times. And I kid you not, one time I called them like, dude, I need to use the restroom. And she walks in and she was just like, I'm so sorry, I'm helping, another nurse move a client. I'm like, or a patient. I'm like, how long does it take to move a patient? Seriously, like, and where are all the other nurses, and why I'm not being tended to, right? And she was just like, oh my God, you're all wet, this and that. And, the floor nurse came by and was just like, what is this? What is that? I'm like, dude, my husband had to go get Desitin for my butt because I was literally getting a rash from my own, urine that was stagnant on the bed, because none of my nurses would come around at all to change me. Like, no one wanted to, like, I don't know what it is. Am I because I'm Asian? Because I don't speak up? Because I'm not yelling at them? Because I'm not demanding? I'm like pushing the button and requesting. No one comes up, kid you not. And I was just so confused. I was so frustrated. And being the advocate that I am, the floor nurse come over and she was like, oh, please, here, report it to this, she gave me a card of who's in charge of the floor, right? And the charge nurse. And it was useless. It was really useless. Like, I called, left a message, after I was already discharged. I called, left a message, no one calls you back, and that was the game that we're playing with Providence right now, right? Anyways, after that, I had OT-PT come into my room, and I asked, I'm like, well, how long am I going to be in here for? I don't want to be in a hospital. I just don't like it, I mean, the fact that my husband had to go get baby butt cream for me because they couldn't change me on time, or they couldn't get me to the bathroom on time. Make it make sense. Like, I'm literally in a 24/7 hour facility that I had 2 or 3 nurses assigned to me, and yet I'm having this issue, right? Why? Explain to me. Anyways, yeah, and I complained. I did complain. I was really loud about it when my friends came and visit, so they can, they came to visit. It was really nice of them, but I bet the nurse heard me complain, and another nurse came by and was just like, sometimes I feel like why I should even clock in. And I'm thinking, you chose this job. You can clock in and you can clock out, but at least you're getting paid for it. I'm not. I'm here. I'm your patient. I'm not getting paid for it, and yet I'm not being tended to either. How fair is that? You choose this job. You choose your heart. I chose my heart. And my heart is harder than yours right now. And there's people who don't get paid to do things that other people can't even imagine what they're doing. So you are lucky you have a full benefit and you're getting paid to do your job. And I'm not even asking for much. I just need to be clean. Who doesn't want to be clean after being assaulted and, you know, wetting themselves or pooing themselves or having just natural things happen to themselves while they're laid up in bed medicated? And she talked to me and I talked to her. I'm like, you're more than welcome to quit. There's no one holding you back. There's other adventures out there in your life. If you're not happy, you're not happy. And that's just the, line I give my daughter too. You make choices. You have choices in life. This is America. The fact that you are a nurse, the fact that you are educated, you're more than welcome to make other choices. So she was upset and I was upset, but I had to tell her, again, she has options. I don't. I'm stuck here with you guys. Either you do your job or you don't. So, but I asked about how long am I going to be here, and they're like, yeah, the doctor puts you in for 2 weeks. I'm just like, oh, heck no. I had a wedding that I was invited to. It's my cousin's wedding. We don't have a lot of traditional, first of all, as an autism mom, we don't get invited anywhere, really. Super isolated. And then second, being on cancer treatment forever and broke or whatever people think of me, they don't invite you to anything. And I feel like, this is once in a lifetime chance to be with my family, to enjoy the moment and things like that. And again, this is just part of my journey. You're like, well, that Friday was the wedding, well, day one, and then day two was on Saturday. And so they're like, well, they're gonna keep you in until you can stabilize yourself on your own. I'm like, okay, fine. So PT, OT taught me some things. I didn't like what they were teaching me, but so I had my own, whatchamacallit, technique to get myself out and stabilize myself. And so I did it that night. I think it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. I got up and I stood on one leg, holding something else too, obviously. And I set up the whole floor alarm. And the nurses were like, what's going on? What's happening? Things like that. And then my other nurse came in, my assigned nurse came in. He's been really good. I can't remember his name, but the last 2 set of nurses that I've had prior to my checkout was really attentive to me and did their job and was there for me, even, through the showering and everything. But he scolded me. He goes, you're not supposed to be doing that without, supervision and everything. You need to sit down. You need to, you need to get back into bed. I'm just like, okay, but before you do that, can you please take a picture? Because it wouldn't never happen unless you have proof, right? So picture. And so I took a picture, or he took a picture of me. Anyways, that was that for the hospital. Actually, not only that. So when we left, I think it was like 2 or 3 days later when I realized, oh my God, I don't have my jewelry. My mom gave me a star-shaped, pendant after I graduated from college. It's all diamonds. It's diamonds. And it's something I wore for over 20 years. And then my husband gifted me a diamond and ruby cross. It was just beautiful. And it was gone. It was gone. It didn't come home with me from the hospital. And I remember them putting it in a green plastic container. And I was just so upset and so dumbfounded at what had happened. And I was just so sad. And I'm just like, I can't believe this. I'm in Illinois. I can't work. I can't clean any hours. I can't continue doing anything until this all settle. I lose my jewelry. And then, and it's just, one thing after the next. And they say when it rains, it falls. But in my case, it was just like, it's just a lot. Anyway, up to the update. I'm just very upset. I'm just very upset to think that I have no sign of disease in my system. And all of a sudden, they're telling me that I have stage 4 bone cancer on my hip, and that's why there's a fracture, or that part of the hip was fractured because the cancer had ate up most of that bone area. I'm not happy. When my oncologist told me and felt bad for me after I was discharged from the hospital, I had an appointment that Monday with her, and she was like, so Pars, what is your thought? What's your reaction? How do you feel? I'm not sensing a good, I'm sensing something, but I'm not sure what it is. I'm like, in my thoughts, I'm just like, how can you not detect this? I'm literally on cancer treatment for the last 6 years. The 5 years of that, I go to my oncologist. I have labs, oncology, and treatment. 3 blocks of appointment every 3 months for the last 5 years. How can you not catch it? How can you not catch the fact that I am on stage 4 cancer now? I don't understand. And I felt like, I felt this was like a stupid joke. Like, they really do not have anything to assess or to figure out, to find, to intervene in these processes where, oh, okay, let's find out where she's at with this cancer. Is it working? Is it treatment? 5 whole fucking years, excuse my French, of me doing this treatment. It's like, for what? For it to spread? For it to not work? To just poison my body? Why? And I just don't understand. 5. I'm on anti-estrogen med twice. One is my Lupron shot, and the other one is estrogen I'm taking every freaking night, and it hurts my joint. It hurts my it hurts my nerves. It hurts my muscle. It hurts every part of my body, in which I learned to live with. Because what else are you gonna do? Complain about it? Doctors don't know what to do with you, and we just live in pain, right? Which I did. I learned to live in pain. I went back to work. I went back to school. I went back to everything I need to do. And I was so helpful, so helpful. And then I'm just dumbfounded. I'm just like, what happened? It took an assault for you guys to figure out that I have stage 4 bone cancer now. So, they wanted me to, because of this, they wanted a biopsy. They wanted radiation right away, and they wanted chemo right away. But the chemo is not going to be as harsh as the initial chemo that I did for my breast cancer, because they're not trying to get rid of the cancer. They're just trying to maintain it and suppress it, so that way I can live with it, as painless as possible. And I refuse. I'm just like, why would I go back into that treatment? It's like going back to an ex-boyfriend who abused you, and nothing came out of it. Literally nothing but scars and more pain, and I lashed out on the secretary of my oncologist, and I know it's bad, but I'm just like, it's my frustration. It's my real, like, what am I going to do? Well, who am I supposed to tell this to? And so I went shopping for and referral for new oncology. It was just BS to me. I feel like they're all in it together. They're repeating the same things. They're not showing me my chart. They're not showing me my, diagram of all that's going on, all that's in my body and things like that. I spoke to my Kaiser Oncology, so I started getting a new insurance through Kaiser because of, my work, my new job. And I spoke to the Kaiser Oncology. I'm like, okay, well, I want Fred Hutch opinion too. So I got a referral to Fred Hutch. They said the same thing. There's nothing they can do. They're not going to do surgery. It's just going to be a bigger mess, to clean up. So they just want to do radiation, chemotherapy, and any other medication or anything really, treatment that can help me live my life the best I can with stage 4 bone cancer. Who else did I see? So I've already with Swedish. I'm already with Kaiser. I'm already with Fred Hutch. I can't remember if I saw anybody else, but anyways, when I had my CT scan, CT biopsy for the bone, because they wanted to know what kind of cancer it is, if it's the same breast cancer that metastasized or if it's something different that had mutated. So basically it's the same thing. When he did the prior to doing the CT, he was very good, like what I expected in my standards. The first two in college I've ever had was Dr. Ward and Dr. Lee, and they show me my numbers of my blood work and my labs, and they show me my images of what's going on and how it looks like now compared to back and forth, and the rest of the doctors in between, they haven't even reviewed shit before they see me. Oh, well, seriously, dude? Seriously? So I'm just dumbfounded at this new procedure that everyone seems to be on, their checklists of not checking everything and reading all the notes before meeting their patient, right? Anyways, the doctor that did the CT scan, guided biopsy, he was amazing. The biopsy, I was scared because I've heard bone biopsy can be extremely invasive. That's why I refused it so many times over, but I finally agreed to it, and it was really nice. It went quick. It was not as painful as I thought, but again, I'm on med, so anytime when I'm not on my medication or forget to take my medication and skip that hour or two, that little gap, it's very painful. Like, I would cry. Painful. Anyways, the biopsy healed really nice. Whatever their new technology is, I love it. He had presented to me a pen. It's the shape of a pen that they do this biopsy with. He did it with some clicks, and he did it on my back hip where the bone had been invaded by the cancer, and it was the least invasive. I think it would be painless if I didn't have the fractured hip, but it was really nice. Right now I want to try to get back to work. What can I do? I don't know. Supervision, or whatever their light duty is. It's just now I just can't. It's just stupid, because I was doing food prep, I was doing scheduling, I was, I had 6 clients, I was shopping, I was, balancing everything, and I felt like I was in top of my world. I'm finally where I wanted to be, We did guardianship for my son, after 4 court visits and all the things that I went through. He's finally, we finally won guardianship, and now I have to, do the whole reporting things and stuff like that I have to learn. So there's a lot that's going on and has happened since April. Next up for treatment is, again, the cancer is basically breast cancer that metastasized to my hip. Not sure how that happened, but I remember asking Dr. Ward, there's 2 tendrils that I saw from that initial breast cancer, and he goes, don't worry about it. I'm like, I just feel brushed off every time a doctor tells me that, as if I don't have eyes, or even if I don't have the highest education that you do, I have this amazing gut feeling as a mom or as a human being that a lot of people don't have, that says that's going to be a problem later on. And guess what? I saw the tendrils. That was 2 tendrils, literally like long antennas from the breast cancer itself, branching from the breast cancer itself, and it looked like it was going down south. And kid you not, there goes the hip, right? What's next? Let's see. My car is dead. It was my husband sold it. It needed more work than not. And I figured if I'm not driving, then just get rid of it. We don't have to pay for insurance or anything, so we sold it for $1,400. Summer Cheryl died, in which she was able to turn around and bought a new car for herself. I'm super proud. I asked her if Dad co-signed for it, and she goes, nope, it's all me. I did my research. I went to BECU, got a, loan approval from them, a pre-approval, and she went into the car, got the car that she wanted or showed us, and came back home with it. Other than that, Sound Transit, oh my gosh, I don't even want to talk about that because I think we still have 3 or 4 years into it to see what's going to happen. With Kai, we are participating in University of Washington of Autism genetic program, and we are doing our both Anthony and I and Kai had submitted our DNA to them. So we'll see what's going to happen. They're going to read if there's any mutation, or if it's in the family, or what other diseases that we can find within that study. So I'm excited to hear about that. Right now, Kaiser pulled me out of their home care program because they think I am super, I guess, good at mobile. And in a way, I'm like, yeah, I don't want you guys here anyways. Again, they want me in the rehabilitation home, which I seriously doubt I'll be good at because I'll be bored on my head, in which I am still bored on my head here anyways. But for the next step for my cancer treatment is radiation, 5 to 10 treatment, and then it's going to be chemotherapy pretty much for the rest of my life. The minimum age of doing it is that they can extend my life at least at the minimum 4 more years, which I'm fine by, but, and I came to terms with with death. I don't, I'm not afraid of it or anything. I feel like I'm being cheated because these professionals are not doing their job. They're just checking in, checking out for their paycheck. And their paycheck is good, especially when they're having residual income from either vaccines or medications or referrals or whatever the case is. I'm not their priority. I'm my priority now, and so I have to advocate for a lot of things. I just feel cheated. And right now I have a great, I don't have the best, support system. I mean, there's definitely limits, and I'm at home by myself a lot of the times. And Kai has summer break right now. He starts camp and ESY this summer, so to keep his, schedule busy. I'm just thankful for a super dedicated husband who is not going anywhere. He's going to be with me, for the rest of my life, just to make me comfortable. He put me to bed. He makes sure I have everything as soon as he comes home from work. My daughter's the same way. She has her angst too, but she does have her own life. She is a young adult. But, in trade of rent, you have to help with the household. You have to help with the people who need help. And that's, mom and your brother. And it's not like we can do anything about it. I'm doing my best to, not need her. But, the laundry's not going to do themselves. And I can't get out of the house to even do it. And I haven't been able to do it since I was on chemotherapy the first round, because of my nerves and of the fact that I've fallen so many times in the past over little things. And kid you not, I thought something suspicious is happening to my body, because again, I'll have missteps, it'll hurt left and right, whatever. I'll have ice pack on my hip, and I go to my oncologist and she'll just like, oh, what's that? I'm like, oh, it's an ice pack, my hip hurt, but nothing, pain med is not going to deal with. Oh, and then she just ignored. She doesn't follow through with it or anything like that. And that's where she went wrong, and I would go every 3 months, same, oh yeah, my pain. I'm like, what's the point of telling you that I have pain here and there if you're not gonna, do anything about it? What's the point? Seriously. Mom, my head hurts. Okay, so go to bed. My head still hurt. Okay, so go to bed. Oh, you have a seizure? Oh, did it go away? Oh, well, if it happens again, let me know. Like for me, I would be at the hospital and doctor shopping and stuff, or trying to figure out why my son had a seizure, or why is he throwing up? Why is he losing weight? This doctor? Nothing. What would you do if you had a doctor who does nothing about your care, about what you're going through on an everyday basis? I'm just dumbfounded, because to me, kid you not, when they told me initially how big the cancer is, they said it was like the biggest part, it was 7.3 centimeters, 7.2 centimeters. That's huge. And now after the CT scan, it's at 11. You don't think a full body CAT scan, knowing that breast cancer can metastasize into something worse, to go, hey, let's do a full body CAT scan. She's been complaining about the hip pain and this pain and that pain. Let's see what's going on. Nothing. So that's my end for the day. I am dealing with L&I. I am dealing with workers' my work to see if I can get back to work. I am trying my best to get a helper in, and I pay cash for a friend to come over to help make dinner and things like that, so I don't starve, or my family don't starve. We still have my son's caregiver, in which we had extended hours and got her approval for overtime, because I'm his initial caregiver, obviously, and I am down. Oh, I also had plants that I was procuring from a fellow gardener to sell, to help pay for my trip to Cambodia and things like that. And again, it was just so hopeful. I was just so hopeful of all the things that I could do, because I finally got to go from being on disability to say, hey, you know what? I think you're ready to go. I'm only to unfortunately come to this. So that's my life. If you think your life is down and out and things like that, just be thankful you woke up and you're breathing and you can walk, or you can commute to somewhere to enjoy the day and to enjoy your blessing. I'm just trying to tell you that, don't take anything for granted. I feel like I was on top of my world literally for like 3 days. That's about it. Unfortunately, I had like 3 days of on top of my world, only to like, everything just falls. Everything's falling. My gift that my mom gave me is gone. My car is gone. My job is gone. I don't know when I'll be back to work. I don't know if I'm going to live long enough to see my kids grow into real adults. I just feel cheated. That's it. And what's keeping me going is, the love of God. And I know He has a reason for my journey. And this journey, if you followed me, my past has not been easy, and people have gaslit me many times, thinking I'm pretending, thinking it's all in my head, thinking I'm not doing my best, thinking, I'm choosing, my kids and over career, and thinking that I'm not, thinking I have excuses for everything. And people just don't understand when you have a profoundly autistic son who hurts, and you can see him physically, mentally hurt, and who has gone through this cycle 3 times over. It's hard, and he's an adult now, and now you have to fight the system to make sure that he's happy and then at bay, and that you can leave him in this world with someone who will love and care for him, and then to have this news that, the first round of cancer, I was upset, yes, but I was able to do things for myself still, after my treatment, after 2 or 3 days off in bed and just trying to recover from each treatment, I was able to get up, and I was able to do things with my kids, for my family, things that I'm supposed to do as a mom, right? This time my hip is fractured. It hurts like hell to try to step or even lay down in bed if I don't have my medication. So it's hard when your entire superhuman, powers, it's been taken away from you. Just shift it to everybody else but you, and you have to trust it. You have to trust God that He has you, and that all this that is broken, all things that were lost, all things that, you felt betrayed and things like that, everything that is coming out are the good people in my life who wants to stay in my life, are the people who shows up and continue to be there for me and my family, are the people who I will pay attention to and, listen to and turn to for anything, because they have proven themselves that they love us and that they want to be with us, and we matter. So I don't go chasing people anymore. Just to let you guys know, I don't. I've never really did. I just really came to the realization that I'm a full-grown adult. I have people who love me, and I don't need a big crowd of friends. I don't need a big crowd to
satisfy anything. The only people I really need are the true people who wants to be there for me and my family. And they've come through over and over again. The last 5-6 years has been amazingly challenging, but we we are doing it, you know, as long as I still have them by my side. um you know, unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people are more attentive to people who are dying from cancer or dying from whatever that their friends are going through, and they will be there that one time, you know, here's your flowers, here's your dinner, here's your whatever the case is. But the people who truly matters are the ones who come through every single time. And it's not like they have all the time in the world either, but they'll let you know, and they'll let you know when they don't have the time. So, and I respect that. I do. I respect that so much, because, you know, we were put on this earth to be there for each other. And I know a lot of people have their own people and their own family and their own situation, and everyone have their own lives and challenges and things like that. And I am blessed to wake up every morning with the people that I have in my life to help me through the day, you know, whether or not they are physically here or not. They still, you know, they still pray for us and be there for us when they can. So anyways, that's the end of it. If you guys have any questions or anything like that about autism, about cancer treatment, about just anything, let me know. I'm here. You know, DM me, send me a message. You guys know how to connect me if you're following me. It's been hard, yes, but again, I believe and I give it all to God to let him you know, guide my journey. But I pray for him to, you know, praying is just not enough. You know, you have to do something too, right? So you have to do your homework. So I am going to be calling around about naturopath doctors. I've already met with one already also. And I don't think she's enough, unfortunately. I want to try the whole oxygen hyperbaric, more of the red light therapy and more of the nutrient IV, because I've been taking so much vitamins that my stomach cannot handle it anymore. And I know it's been good for me because it's increased my energy and things like that, but unfortunately, you guys, you know, I'm nauseous every day. I'm tired. I don't know, and I haven't even started treatment yet. So I'm definitely seeking new naturopath doctors in the Everett, Mukilteo area, in which I can access some of the new groundbreaking therapies, obviously, because I'm gonna try chemo the first round and see how it goes. And again, if it's too invasive in my life, I will probably ask to stop, you know, and then try something else, because I know it's supposed to help kill and X, Y, and Z, but look at me now, you know, I'm at stage 4 cancer. What did it do? How do you know if it did that work? How did you know it did its job like it's supposed to? You know, I literally have to stop my hormone therapy now because obviously the doctor said herself, it's not working. So how do you figure that out before you poison the heck out of somebody? I'm just saying, you know, they have bigger responsibility than that, and they really should fight for a better protocol than this, I too. So we definitely need a change in our healthcare system, and it's pissing me off, because I don't want my grandbabies or even my own kids now to go through what I went through. And I would definitely advocate for any other alternative plans and treatments, so that way, you know, they can live a better quality life. So it's just not fair. I just feel cheated. 5 years I dedicated myself to this therapy, hormone therapy. Obviously, it's not working. Let's stop it. Well, that's the end for today. Again, if, you know, thanks for being around and sticking around.